Feed your dog once a day. Now, some people are going to argue that you should feed your dog more, but here are the facts. A dog's digestive system takes about 12 hours for the food to process and go through the absorption, be broken down in the stomach, etc. And it's funny because depending on the size of it, look, 6 and 6 equals 12. 4, 8 and 4 equals what? 12. Isn't that funny? So, you got a smaller breed dog, what ends up happening? If you continue to feed your dog 2 or 3 times a day, it's not uncommon for, let's say, a Frenchie to do what? Regurgitate his food. Why? Because all you're doing is shoving food down the stomach, and a dog's stomach acts as a battery reserve. You know what a battery reserve is? Which means it ingests, keeps the food in the stomach primarily, and then only breaks down stuff when what? When it's about to go and do stuff, or when it's about to go and look for food, if it was out there in the wild. Now clearly our dog's out in the wild, so you have to worry about that. But if the dog's digestive system works every 12 hours and you're concerned with its growth and well-being, put nutrient dense foods in there. Someone reached out and said, hey, well, I didn't feed my dog. I fed my dog only once and it threw up bile. Well, you know what happens if you drink beer every day? You don't have the nutrients you need. Your dog is letting you know, even if you feed once or twice and it stays hungry like that, because it's not uncommon for a dog to eat twice and still throw up bile. Why? Because you're putting dust in its stomach. There's nothing in the food specific to, depending on what dog food you're feeding, that the dog needs. So, for a fact, you can fact check this. A dog's digestive system works in 12-hour increments. Now here's the other thing. Most of y'all, even if you are feeding twice a day, ain't gonna get up at 7:30 a.m. and feed the dog again at 7:30 p.m. If you go and eat something heavy and then go work out, what ends up happening? You don't have the energy, because even if you excrete poop, if it's something that was inflammous to you, aka inflamed you crap that stuff out, you still feel like you're burning up because the stomach still has a job to do. Your dog pooping does not mean this the intestines or the stomach, the digestive system is still not doing its job. To get through the small intestine, it often takes about 6 to 8 hours, which means the food that sits in the stomach sits there and gets blended up and broken down, because what is the stomach? It's an acid tank. So it's got to break down all the stuff that the dog ingested, and unless you're blending the food, especially if you're feeding raw, and getting it down to a refined state, imagine the stomach trying to break down a whole steak, because a dog does what? Take 2 bites, steak is gone, a whole chunk of something's gone. This process right here, so that it can pass through the small intestine, takes that long, and then you keep feeding the dog, filling up that tank, so the dog gets overweight. But even worse, you get gastrointestinal inflammation. And that means the dog's not processing the food. It's not living its best life. Someone says, well, my dog always eats. It's always hungry. A hungry dog don't mean it's a healthy dog. That's the other thing. Because your dog eats 3 times a day doesn't mean that it's healthy. In your mind, you perceive it to be healthy. But if someone actually looked at the inside of the dog's insides, they might look scary, because of what the dog's body is doing and it doesn't need to be doing. What I'm saying is, the key to longevity, even for us humans, is to manage our insulin levels, aka how much work our organs are doing. When your dog's body is always working, breaking down food, getting no break, what do you think happens? You shorten up its quality of life. There is a word I encourage you to go and research and look into, and that is autophagy. I'm not even going to break the word down. I might in a future video. But some of the best doctors in the world that are longevity specialists, even one had a dog live to 29 years old. He only fed once a day. And it boosts cellular health and overall growth in the dog. And it gave the dog's system a break. Reduced inflammation. Inflammation is how we get to forms of cancer, even in us humans. Which is why if you eat heavy forms of red meat, what happens? There's a higher risk of pancreatic cancer, because the body, what people don't realize, is the cow is red meat, but the cow eats grass. It's a herbivore. So you're literally getting their source of protein from a third party, what? Distributor. That's a whole nother thing. Point is people don't agree with this, but this is the fact. Feed once a day. And let me give you one step further. If I feed the dog once a day, and he says, well, how do I let's say I want to get my dog to get on this once a day thing, and I want to convert it over, just take my time. So today, for instance, let's say today is Wednesday. On Thursday, I'm going to fast the dog. So the dog ate here, whatever time. We'll say you fed your dog at 9 a.m. The dog's eating nothing on Thursday at all. Friday, I'll put Friday down here. I'm going to feed the dog at 9 a.m. Then I'm going to keep moving this time to the next day, 10 a.m. This is also going to do what? Not only help them cleanse themselves, get some of that cellular health back, but this is also going to switch up their routine in a way that boosts a healthy stomach, a healthy gut. Being you're actually giving the dog nutrient-dense, quality-filled meals and substances that the dogs need. Biological appropriate food is what Dr. Karen Becker calls it, and that is chicken, proteins and fats primarily, with some greens and fruits mixed in, because the dog does not have amylase to break down starches. Therefore, potatoes, sweet potatoes, the dog doesn't need them. Grains, it doesn't need it. They say it does, but I assure you it doesn't. And the only time you could even really utilize that is if you feed the dog something grain based and do what? Then go and train it, work it, put it through some work, and not immediately. Not immediately. So that being said, I'll break in detail. These puppies, I tell you. Are you laying on the puppy? No, you just mad. This I'll break down some more. I'm glad. Thank you for one to all those that reach out and said, hey, did you put the longer version up on the YouTube? I'm going to do my best. We've got a system now where we're going to at least get 3 to 5 videos put up on the YouTube a week. I've just been uploading shorts, but I know this is needed. Repeat, dog's digestive system works in 12-hour increments. If you want your dog to live well, be great, and even get more muscle, for those who are looking at the muscle, I want more muscle, more stability, more strength, more energy for your dog. You want to see like, oh, my dog could do more. I promise you. I promise you. If you feed once a day and you live an active lifestyle, your dog will be fine. And I'll break down this some more at another time. That being said, T-Fit here, Fit Bully TV. Like, subscribe, please and thank you. Share, comment if you got a question. And as always, take care of your dogs.